Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator. We are going to finish up our week of track walks with one of the more crazier tracks I've ever seen in the game. You guys may have seen tracks like this that I've done before in Track Walk. This is the Dragon Ball Z Snake Way by WolFmx, WolFmx, whatever you want to call him. He's done Rainbow Road, he's done Volcano Island, all these other tracks that I've done before. But clearly this is a Dragon Ball Z mega track of sorts. So I'm going to try to do the very best that I can explain all this. This is all just research I just did, and I really have like almost no clue what I'm talking about with Dragon Ball Z. It was a little bit before my time, just barely. I watched a little bit of it with my brother, but he was, you know, a fair bit older than me, so he knew a lot more about it. But 30-second board being held up by Goku. I think everybody knows Goku from the Dragon Ball Z series. This, as far as I can tell, this palace that's behind the starting gate is Princess Snake's palace, which I think makes the most sense because this is obviously Snake Way. And Snake Way is actually, this is from the Dragon Ball wiki, if you could, you know, just imagine that. I can't believe that I'm looking on a Dragon Ball Z wiki, but it's a long, narrow, winding path located in the other world above Hell, which leads from King Yemma's palace to King Kai's planet, and is the only method of getting to the latter. Very interesting. This little witch woman that you pass at the very beginning is actually fortune teller Beba, I believe her name is. Again, no idea really any of the history behind that, but let's go ahead and start riding this track before I get too just completely lost on Dragon Ball Z history that I just don't know. This track is very slick and slippery, and it's really hard to get much traction at all, but once you start moving, you're really moving, so I got to keep that in mind. And I'll eventually go off into the lava and show you that there's, you know, an underlayer of this. I mean, there is an underlayer that we eventually go under as part of the track, but I'll go off into it. Up here, as far as I can tell, excuse me, is Tien Shinhan, or Shinhan, Tien Shinhan, which I'm not sure his relation. And then up here, I think, is the protagonist of the Matcha series, or whatever they call it. This is Yamcha. So again, no idea what any of these people are, but this is the research that I've put into it, so you guys know that I at least tried. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, I'm sure I'm just botching these names like no other, and you guys are just absolutely livid with my pronunciation here. I'm going under the lava. So there is an underlayer to it, but there's a lot more to it than just this little layer off the side of the track that you can see, and you'll see in like 4 seconds probably what I'm talking about. So anyway, yeah, this is a very, very unique MX Simulator track. You don't normally see many of these. WolFmx is very, very limited on what he does, and cool to see another one like this. And it's not new either, and I'll get to the backstory in that in a second. But next up on the list of characters is Crillon, which I think a lot of people recognize this face as well, one of the more popular characters in the series. Again, if I had any knowledge of the history, I'm sure I could tell you more about him, but just trying to reference the characters as I pass by them, and eventually I'll get down to actually riding the track a little bit more holistically. So as we come down this side, there's like that planet off in the background. I'm not sure, that I guess that's the Kai's planet or whatever that this road leads to. So you're gonna jump onto the planet, so you jump off the tail of this thing. Oh no, wait, you actually jump under the lava, and there's a, I don't even know what this place underneath is called. You can see there's Dragon Balls everywhere. These ones have 3 stars in them. Not sure what the relevance is of that, but I know that some have like 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star. So anyway, you come around this corner and there's a little double step down. And then here's the next character, which I believe to be Cell, from what I gathered. Cell or Kel, C-E-L-L. At least as far as I can tell. I'm not 100% sure that that's accurate, but we'll run with it. So this is supposed to be a little triple, and these jumps are very, very big. Very unique track, like I said. And this is a big tabletop that you can just throw some serious sauce on, and I'm not going to bring it back. But this is the underlayer, underworld, whatever it's called, of the lava top layer. And as a non-Dragon Ball Z person, I'm just so lost, but I really wanted to do something crazy to end this week of Track Walk series that I've been doing. Alright, so this character here is known as Majin Buu, I believe. and he's one of the more main characters as well. You've probably seen his face around. And then as we go through these little sections here, and we're going to do this little double. Now I believe over here is Goku going Super Saiyan and about to launch his attack on a villain, I believe here, Frieza. I think I'm saying that right. Frieza, something like that. And we're almost to the end of characters here. This, I believe, is Piccolo. I saw that there was another iteration of him before. It's like Piccolo or Piccolo Jr. So I'm not sure which one of the two it is, but I believe this is Piccolo. And then you come through this last section. This is supposed to be a triple. I'll hit it a little bit more regularly in a second. But then as you come up to the top of this hill, at the very top, when you're going to cross over the finish line jump here, is King Yemma. So when you complete the full lap and you made it from the palace to the end of the lap, you finally reach King Yemma, which is again supposed to be the end of the road, or going from King Yemma through the Snake Way up to Kai's palace or whatever it is. Anyway, I'm so lost on any history of this. That is the best research to my knowledge that I can do. Hopefully I didn't botch these names too bad, but let's get back down to this track a little bit. Talk about WolFmx here a little bit, and what exactly he does, or did, I guess, in the MX Simulator community. So his actual first release was a replica of an Italian track, I believe, that was back in 2013, and he released that. And everyone just was like, well, that's cool. Like, there's a new track creator kind of on the block that's releasing replicas. Always good to see. And then he just kind of blew everybody's minds with Volcano Raceway, which I believe was the first like big track that he ever like made and released, and people were in awe of that. I think that's actually Track Walk episode 50 that I did way back in the day. And his next move after that was releasing Mario Kart's Rainbow Road in MX Simulator. So these are all, video game tracks or cartoon tracks, I guess, of the past that you might remember. Like, Rainbow Road is a video game, but this is obviously a cartoon. Dragon Ball Z, I guess it was a video game as well. But the Rainbow Road one was, I think, kind of like the biggest one that he ever released, and he also started making a website that he was releasing some other stuff on. He eventually updated his Volcano Raceway and released a 2017 version, which I have yet to play, but I may get down and play now. I'm not sold on the idea yet, but I went on his website. So this wasn't released on the forums. This track was never released on the forums. It's on his website, and if you don't trust going to his website, I get it, because it seems like it's kind of like a weird website, and it doesn't look like it's updated very often, so it could be a little bit weird to go to. But on his website was this track, and it seems completely done. It was released on his website, so it seems like he actually did try to finish it on some level. And I was like, man, I've never seen this before. I never even saw it on upcoming tracks and editing or anything like that. He never released it on the forums. It never, I think, even appeared on places like TM Factory Racing or other places where you can get tracks for this game. And so I just thought to myself, man, so many people probably don't even know that this exists. It'd be really cool if I go and do a track walk on it. And like I said, wanted to end this week of track walks with a bang. So we are doing this one. Another track that he's done, which I think I did a track walk on. If not, Jeremy and I definitely played it at some point, was called Make a Sketch SX, which is, it looked like on graph paper, he, drew a track with like couple rhythm lanes and a straightaway, and then built it in game with that graph paper as the overlay of the track. So that was kind of one of those like weird ones that like it wasn't really that big of a deal. Like the track was not really long or anything crazy like that, but the environment is unique, and that is what WolFmx has been known for over the years, is making just these super interesting, unique environments that you just don't see elsewhere in the game, because I don't think most people pick up MX Simulator and they're like, I'm gonna make Snake Way from Dragon Ball Z today. That sounds like a plan, but WolFmx does it. So just another crazy creation here that, like I said, wanted to share with you guys, and maybe you're getting a kick out of this. I know I am, because look, it's MX Simulator. It's supposed to be a simulation game. It's supposed to have realistic physics. I get it. But at the end of the day, it is still a video game the same way iRacing and all these other simulated games are, and you can still do some really stupid things in most simulated games because they're video games. So I don't mind that people make stuff like this the same way I don't mind that, you know, Storkin made Sky Madness, and we've done a track walk on Brian Haskell's Get High 4 before and stuff like that. Like, the crazy, unique tracks like that, to me, are what make video games, like, still fun and not overly serious or anything like that, which we often tend to take sim a little bit too seriously, in my opinion. So it's nice to break up the mold a little bit and do something a little bit more lighthearted like this. And to be honest with you, this track is freaking killer for throwing like whips and hitting big jumps and stuff like that. It's really fast, it's really slick, but once you get going in a straight line, I mean, you're cooking, and you can catch some huge air and do some really cool big jumps. I mean, look at how fast I went from like 0 to 30. Like, I am moving. He must just have like no roll resistance on this traction or something like that. You just start going so fast. But yeah, WolFmx has done incredible work for this community. He's not really around anymore. The last post he made on the forums even was way back in 2018, so I'm not even sure that if I did this track and posted it up that, you know, he would even like care or even see it or anything like that. Not that I'd expect anybody that I do a track walk for the, you know, notice that I did it, but I think he's just completely out of the sim community at this point, and this track, I think, just was completely unnoticed, and I really don't think I've ever seen it anywhere else before. So wanted to bring it to the surface today and show you guys it and bust a couple laps on it. Very unique track. At first, when I started playing it, I thought it was going to take me like really long time to get used to it or whatever, but you can see within a couple laps, this is only like my 5th full lap going around the track, you get a pretty good idea of where the track goes and how the jumps are kind of flowed and how fast you need to hit. Like I said, look at how fast I'm going. I'm only just barely on the throttle and was going like 60 miles per hour, and I'd imagine you can get going a lot faster. It's actually making me think that if I had this traction, I could do the long jump even farther because I have less roll resistance. I hadn't even thought about that for making a longer jump in this game. So couple interesting tidbits I'm picking up myself here to gather with this. But yeah, definitely I would, at least if nothing else, I would recommend you guys download this track and try to like get used to it and just look at the different nuanced graphical images of the track and just the whole crazy part of it. Like, it's funny that technically we're riding on a snake's back, I guess, for this first half, and then the second half we're like underneath a lava pit. I have no idea the relevance or the story or anything behind that, but it's still really cool, and clearly he did put a lot of time and effort into this. Like, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill, like, oh, I just laid down a couple decals and built some jumps and bam, I have a track. Like, he really put some thought into this and wanted to make it something unique and special for the sim community to enjoy. I'm sure, you know, he and his friends also enjoyed it over the years. But anyway, definitely would, you know, download it and give it a try, and just at least be open-minded to weird, nuanced tracks like this, because they're not that common in this game. I think a lot of people do try very hard to keep MX Simulator very simulated-like. So it's cool when there's these really random tracks that pop up like this that have just a completely different backstory than just, yeah, it's a local raceway, or yeah, it's, you know, a supercross track, whatever. Like, this is something completely different. The jumps and everything like that aren't even something that I would ever think about on a regular track, because they're huge. They're big doubles, they're big tabletops, they're big step downs or whatever. And they're a lot of fun, but I mean, you are in the air for like a half hour on most of these. And in real life, I just don't think a lot of these jumps would be possible or something that people would try, because they're just like ridiculous. But anyway, I digress with that whole situation. Really cool track, really well done with the environment, and a really, I think, fun way to kind of end up our week of track walks. I really hope you guys have enjoyed our week of track walks, kind of getting back into the swing of thing with track walk, trying to get my MX Simulator talents a little bit reinvigorated, I guess, by doing 5 straight days of playing. Hopefully it's worked on some level, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed the process along the way. So definitely download this track, Dragon Ball Z Snake Way, in the description below. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.